This week's project for the GMC Junkie is a Dodge. This is a 1970 Dodge Charger that belongs to a buddy of mine. This car hasn't been driven in 20 years. He said 2006 was the last time he drove it. 2008 was probably the last time it was started. I did look at the oil change sticker. It was serviced July of 2004. This is March of 2026, and it has about 1,200 miles on it in, what was it, 22 years. So yeah, it's not had a lot of miles on it. It's a really nice car. The interior is nice, but man, does it stink. It smells like the musty basement of a mouse motel. Mildew all over the seats and the steering wheel. They've got the headliner chewed up, made mouse houses in it. Like, it does not smell good. Another thing that doesn't smell good is this gas. That's definitely 20-year-old gas. It smells terrible. So this was an original 318 car. It now has a 1967 440 big block in it. It's an automatic. It's got power brakes, power steering. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is order a battery, because I know that's not going to charge up, and then see if I can get a wrench down there on the crank bolt, see if the engine will turn over, and then try to pull the fuel line off the tank, start draining that nasty gas out of it. So here's what the GMC Junkie knows about Dodge Chargers. They built this body style for 3 years, 1968, 69, and 70. And some of the ways that you can tell them apart, it's 1968 would have round tail lights. 68 would also have round side marker lights, because 1968 was the first year that it was mandated that all passenger vehicles in the United States had to have side marker lights and reflectors. Amber on the front, red on the back. And Dodge used a little round, I don't know, maybe the size of a quarter on the 68 models. And then in 69, it's mandated that they had to be bigger. So 69 and 70 Chargers have these kind of rectangle marker lights. And then a 1970 Charger has this bumper that goes all the way around the grill. I think that's the right size socket. Get it in there. Oh yeah, that turns over. Let's pull this fuel line off and see what the fuel looks like, see if we can get it out of there. I want to put a hose on it, see if I can blow some air in there. I mean, it honestly sounds like the tank is empty. So there's probably very little gas in this thing. All right, let's see if we can get any old fuel out of this thing. We'll blow some air in it. One will kind of blow the crud off the sock if there's anything on it. Two, it'll pressurize it. There is a little bit of fuel in there. Sure didn't sound like it. It doesn't look terrible. Smells horrible though. Well, let's see how much we get out of it. Okay, well, I guess that tank wasn't empty. It had, I don't know, 6 or 7 gallons in it. And that fuel, it just looks like old fuel. So I don't think there's any rust in that tank. I mean, I know that's orange, but it doesn't look like rusty orange. It just looks like 20-year-old fuel orange. Okay, since I got that fuel line off back there and these fuel lines up here, the fuel pump are looking a little crusty. I'm gonna go ahead and pull all this rubber line off, blow the steel line out, put new rubber hose and a fuel filter on it, before we get it full of fuel and then have it dripping all over us trying to change it. I was working on getting that fuel hose off. And somebody's put a compression union in this, and it's cracked, and it looks like it's been leaking. So I'm just gonna run that rubber hose back to here. It's not gonna hurt anything to have an extra 1.5 feet of rubber hose on it and do away with this junk compression union. Okay, I've got that line off of there. This is that ferrule from the compression fitting, and it's like compressed onto the line. So I'm just gonna leave that, slide the hose over it, and that's gonna keep the hose from sliding off. So I'm gonna put this battery in. It's not even tight. Put the battery in, get it hooked up so that I can watch and see if there's any magic smoke coming out anywhere, because this car has had mice in it. So if they've chewed any wires or anything. So I'll get this battery put in here. We'll get the air cleaner off and get some more fuel hose off. Looks like this battery was put in, can't read the month, but looks like 2004. That. I don't know what that wire is supposed to go to. And when did batteries become so expensive? Price on this battery was ridiculous. Okay. Sparkies. Oh, I think I've got the key on. Okay, that battery's been hooked up for a few minutes. And so far, no smoke. Let's check the antifreeze and the oil. Antifreeze is full. Oil is full. Really doesn't look too bad. We're going to start it on that, and then after it's ran a while, we'll change it. Check the brake fluid while I'm here. It's full brake fluid. Holly carburetor. You can get a new air filter for it. That's not froze up. That carburetor is clean. It doesn't look that old. Okay, I've had the battery hooked up for a little while. I don't see any smoke. I need to go to town and get some fuel line and a filter and some gas. But I want to see if this thing's going to run. So I'm just going to pour some of my special, it hasn't ran in 20 years gas in the carburetor. This is a 2-stroke chainsaw gas. So there's some oil in it to help lube everything up. And a little bit of sea foam. We'll squirt some of this in there. See if this thing will fire up. It's gonna run. I think I need a better squirt bottle. That was almost too easy. That sounds good. All right, well, I'll get some fuel, but we'll have this thing running and idling on its own tomorrow. Yeah, I've got all new fuel hose put on, new fuel filter. Got 2 gallons of, oops, that just made a mess. 2 gallons of fuel in the tank. See if this thing will start, pick up fuel and run. Awesome. Why did this thing start right up and run yesterday? And today, oh, dogs don't like it. They think it's too loud. Well, this thing's not picking up fuel to the fuel pump. So I'm gonna just try to pressurize this tank a little bit. See if we can force some fuel up there to the pump. Maybe a new air hose. All right, let's see if it'll pick up fuel now. Okay, I loosened the clamp up on the fuel pump. I have fuel here. It just started dripping out as soon as I loosened it. So I think we probably need a fuel pump. I got the fuel pump off, and I'm no Dodge expert, but I don't think that's supposed to do that. No wonder I wasn't getting any fuel. All right, I got that new fuel pump up in there. I didn't record any of it because there was just not enough room for light, camera, both my hands and everything in there. But there's a rod in there. You have to push that rod and get it to stay up. Put some grease or something on it to hold it. Slip that fuel pump in there. Try this again, see if it'll pick up fuel and run. Hook the battery up first. least 18 years. It's been sitting there idling for a couple of minutes. It sounds pretty good. It's got just a slight misfire to it, but not bad for not running in 18 years. Okay, it sat there and it ran for probably 10 minutes. The exhaust cleared up and quit smoking. The misfire went away. The choke came off. Thermostat opened. Seems to be running pretty good. I have no brakes. Brake pedal is hard as a rock. I just want to see how easy this thing starts up after it's sat overnight. And then this brake pedal, it doesn't even move, so we got to check to see what's going on the brakes. Alright, I'm going to pull wheels off, check wheel cylinders, work my way back up to the master cylinder. Wow. Wow, those are tight. Or are these left-hand threads? I guess I'll get the big one packed out. They are left-hand thread. They're very tight, but they are left-hand thread. I forgot some of these old Chryslers. Left-hand thread on one side, right-hand thread on the other side. Okay, I got all the brake drums off. The brakes really look pretty good. I see a couple things. The front adjusters. This isn't put in right, so this cable's not tight. So there's no way these front brakes can self-adjust. And that wheel cylinder, full of rust. This other front one, same way. The adjuster's not working. And this wheel cylinder, hard to see, it's full of rust and fluid. Okay, this is a wheel cylinder on the back. It actually doesn't look too bad. It's not really rusty. I don't see any rust on the inside. But I took a screwdriver, tried to compress the pistons in, and it doesn't move. So all four of these wheel cylinders are froze up. So I'm going to start with 4 wheel cylinders, and then hopefully the master cylinder is still okay. But for right now, I'm going to get 4 wheel cylinders, and hopefully that'll get the brakes working. Yeah, just look how full that wheel cylinder is of stuff. There ain't no way that's ever going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest. No wonder these brakes don't work. I didn't record any of this because it's probably kind of boring, but got all the brakes tore apart. Got the wheel cylinders off. Got the wheel bearings cleaned and ready to repack. Went ahead and put the air filter back on too. So as soon as I can get wheel cylinders Monday, we can start getting the brakes put on this thing. They're not going to be here till like Monday afternoon probably. All right, I'll start putting these brakes back together on this Dodge Charger. First thing we're going to do is put the wheel cylinders on. Now I had to pull the backing plate off of the front because these bolts these bolts were kind of behind the spindle. It was just easier to take the backing plate off. We're gonna put a new washer on the brake hose and try to screw it into the wheel cylinder. Come on. There we go, I think I got it. Okay. Just run that down all the way. And once we get the backing plate bolted back up, then we can tighten that down. That lined up, got a screw jack underneath this control arm because this is torsion bar suspension. So once you take that out, that lower control arm wants to drop down. And if you do this in a car with coil springs, you definitely want to be careful because that coil spring could fly out of there. I couldn't get that jacked up high enough on the screw jack, so I had to let the car down and put a floor jack under it to get those bolts started. I'll get those tightened up and we'll start throwing the drum or the shoes back on. Okay, next, all these 3 contact points where the shoes are going to ride, put a little brake caliper grease on those so they don't squeak. The hold down pins back in. And put these back in the wheel cylinders. You know, kind of press on the opposite side so you don't push that piston clear out of there. Start putting the brake shoes on. And what I like to do on these is put these pins up and down. And then when you put this button in your tool, put it up and down with this slot so that way and just take your other hand and push on the back of that pin with your finger. Hold the brake shoe back against with your thumb. Oops, missed it. There. Now when I took this apart, this part that was on wrong, these weren't tight against the shoe. So you want to make sure that when you're putting these on, they don't pop out a little bit and then they're loose. And the adjuster cable, just pop it right on there. And that stayed back tight against there. And the other spring. Now before you put this spring on, if you were doing the rears, you want to put the bar in there for the parking brakes. And then I like to take these springs, put it in, and slide your adjuster in. And then you can just pull these brake shoes apart. And slip it in. A lot easier than trying to get this spring in here after you get the adjuster in. Hook your cable, pull this up, slip it in. All right, it's together. Now we just gotta clean this up a little bit, pack the wheel bearings, get the drums back on. You could just put a glob of grease on your hand, work it into the bearings if you don't have a bearing packer, but this way it just works a lot faster. Get your bearing greased, and just take some grease and your wheel bearing, put it in. Take your grease seal. Tap it in. I like to wipe a little grease around it. Put some grease on the front bearing race. Clean your spindle off. A little grease on that. Slide your drum on. Wheel bearing, washer, and the way I like to adjust these, take a pair of channel locks, snug them down, spin it, back it off, and then just kind of snug. Put your keeper washer on. Just put a cotter pin in. I have this side completely put together. And then I go to the other side, and that's when I realized whoever did this the last time put two long shoes on this side. And both the short shoes on this side. So if I had just put it back together the way it was, it would have been wrong. So never assume the guy before you did it correctly. I let this down off the lift yesterday because I had to roll it forward to get another car in here. I think it's sitting pretty low in the rear. I want to put some air in those air shocks. I'd take the spare tire out. Why in the world would you put the air shock clear in the front of the trunk? You literally have to crawl in here with the spare tire out to put air in this thing. We might be putting an extension on that. I've been trying to bleed the brakes on this Dodge Charger. I haven't recorded any of it because bleeding brakes is pretty boring. But I started at the master cylinder because I took all the fluid out of this thing because it was nasty. So I got all new fluid in it. So I started here and I bled the master cylinder. And then I started at the rears, worked my way around. The only one I got any fluid out of was this right front. And it has what appears to be a fairly new hose on it. Both rears and the front, I have no fluid, but I've cracked the lines. See a little bit of brake fluid there on the floor. So I've got fluid to the line, but then when I crack it here on the axle, I've got nothing. So I've got no brake fluid going through that hose, and I've got no brake fluid going through this front hose. So I've got to get 2 new brake hoses. Probably should have ordered those when I ordered the wheel cylinder, as long as this car's been setting, but I was hoping they would be okay. Okay, I'm getting ready to put some new brake hoses on this thing. But this line, this nut, it's free in the hose, but it's just twisting the line because the nut seized the line. So I'm gonna put a little heat on that, see if I can save that line. Okay, that one's free. All right, now I gotta do the same thing on the rears. I got my 2 new brake hoses. They did not come with new washers. I did not realize that the rear hose unscrewed from that T-block, so I took apart too many lines. But we're gonna see if we can get these put on this morning, and hopefully this afternoon I can get these brakes bled. Unscrew this line when freed up yesterday. Pop this clip off. And then unscrew it out of the wheel cylinder. Oh yeah, see, I got fluid running out of this line. So yeah, both these hoses were just plugged up. Okay, screw in the new one. Look at that. Got fluid coming out of the brake bleeder already. So this is gonna be easy to bleed the brakes on now. So on this rear one, I thought it came apart at this T-block. So I got both these lines loose. And that T-block doesn't have to come off. This hose just unscrews out of it. So I'll get these two things tightened back up and we'll switch that hose out. All right, I'm getting the brakes bled. Got the hoses on, bleeding the brakes. I started out by gravity bleeding. Just pop the top off the master cylinder, crack one bleeder open, work your way around. You know, just let them drip fluid a little bit. Then you need to pump the pedal and crack the bleeders. It's real easy if you have two people, but if you don't, it's a little time consuming and you definitely get your exercise in, but get you a pry bar, block of wood or something. Pump the brake pedal up, wedge it in the seat, run around the car, crack a bleeder open, come back and do it again. Brakes are bled. So I'm gonna top off the fluid and get the wheels on this thing. Maybe we can just run this down the road and back. Can't go real far because it's only got about a gallon of gas in it. Okay, this thing hasn't been started in probably a week. Let's see how it starts up forward. Okay, well, I unfortunately running out of time for this week. I didn't quite get as far as I wanted. I still need to do some work. I think I'm gonna put some spark plugs in it. Need to service the transmission. Definitely need to clean the interior up. Try to get rid of that smell. But gonna have to do that next week. But I want to see if this thing is gonna drive. So we're just gonna run it down to the corner and back. Because I don't want to go much farther than that, because like I said, there's not much fuel in it. Stop. Yep. Definitely need to adjust the brakes. Maybe they need a little more bleeding. Does stop, but not very good. About lost the camera. Brake pedal definitely is not very good. So I got a misfire. I got a low brake pedal. well, that's the first time it's been down the road in 18 years. Like I said, definitely still need to do some work, but it's getting there. Well, it didn't do great on its first drive in 20 years, but it did make it about a half a mile down the road and back. So, I wish I could do more this week, but like I said, I'm out of time. So, next week, service the transmission, adjust and bleed the brakes, clean up the inside of it. I noticed none of the gauges are working. So maybe we'll look at that. I don't know what else it needs, but we'll get back on it next week. Thanks for watching.